Hello to all out there. My name is Daru. Today I wanna go over something that I found really interesting in terms of software development, programming. And it's something that I realized that I was doing a lot, but it took me a long time to understand why this isn't a good idea. And this is passing, well, one thing that a lot of people do a lot, let me add to that, is trying to pass Boolean variables into functions, methods, classes, depending on whatever language you're using. Take an example like this. So right now I haven't completed this example, so let me have this. Say we have a Boolean here, call it is logging in, then let's something here. So the point of this is to see if the user is, or to change what the method will do if the user is logging in or signing up. So let's say, when I make it a string, okay, is logging in as a string. This is a very long name, but I think that's fine. Say true, say yes or no. I won't do any validation here because it's gonna be a little bit of, I just want to make this a quick example. So if equals yes, then we will that dot equals yes, then say Boolean login equals true. Then let's say if it's false, if is actually, let's say if they say yes, they're logging in, and then in any other case they aren't. So login initialize it to false. Right, so now what we're doing is that we're checking if the user is logging in or not. So let's say Boolean new user, then if is logging in, this becomes true, else logged in becomes false. Now what this will do is that it will ask the user if they are logging in. So first look at the user's details, ask the user if they are logging in, right? And then if they are logging in, just make some space here. If they are logging in, it's better if I put that there as well. If they are logging in, then it will set this to true. Then if they aren't, set it to false, right? So let me extend the toString not procedure, I'm thinking in Delphi terms, but the method logged in plus is logged, no, plus this dot is logged in. Okay, so now it will do this check. So if I Java, it's not Java, say Daru, whatever, no. Okay, there's a small issue there. False, okay, login false, login true. Oh, dot toString. Forgot about this. Okay, so it should return, I think, 1 or 0 depending on whether the user is logging or not. So say password yes, true, then password whatever, okay, false. Okay, we're having a bit of difficulties here, but equal to yes, then login is true, then it would be either true or false, and this is supposed to return false. Oh, an error there. So if we run this again, the password whatever, false. Now this is an instance where you pass a Boolean into a constructor like this, right? The same goes for something like Delphi, where you may attempt to send a Boolean to a function, like something I was doing in my app that I was creating in Delphi, where I had a procedure or a constructor which created a user object, but what it would do is that it would have two Boolean variables, one that would check if the user was logging in and one that would check if the user was signing up. And at first this looked okay, until on second inspection I realized that that became very annoying very fast, and I realized that it would make more sense to do something like this. So let's say public void login, then is true, then say public void sign up is equals false, new user is true, then new user equals false. So in this case we're not doing this anymore, so we don't need to pass a Boolean that says that the user is logging in or not. What we do here instead of that is that we say the user is logging in, set these variables, they're signing up, set these. We add that, so new user plus this dot new user dot toString. Okay, and then I come here, say new user dot, actually I still needed this, just yank, control R. Okay, so we still need this, but this time we don't say login equals true. We say, okay, so this should go after. We say new user dot login, else new user dot sign up. Now what this will do instead is that if the user is logging in, it will call the login method here, which will set the user to be logged in, and if not, then it'll sign up the user as in creating a new account. So if I wrong command. If I say java test.java, okay, mistakes here and there. Do this again. Password, yes. So logged in and false. Then if you log in again, no, not logged in, but they are new user. There we go. And that is a perfect illustration of this example that I wanted to give you. This idea that a lot of the time when you want to do something, but then it seems, in your eyes at least, it seems more valuable to do something like passing a variable like a Boolean into something like a constructor, like this constructor here, right? It's usually a good idea to review what that constructor is doing, because sometimes it may be doing more than it actually should, right? I had a big, really big constructor, so if I come here to my user unit, so you can see here the constructor doesn't do much. It just assigns some default variables, and then if the user wishes to sign up, we say tuser.signup, or if the user wants to log in, the user wants to log in, then we have a separate procedure that does that thing. This applies to other languages as well. So if I could show you the older version of this, say this, okay, there's stuff I didn't, okay, but then what that procedure did before is that it aimed to do everything at once by creating the user, but then also assigning all of the variables at the same time, and it would log in or sign up as soon as the constructor was created. So if you look here, as you can see, this constructor does a lot at once. First we have the new user check, which checks if the person is a new user, so it will accept these two variables, new user and logging in. User being if a check if it's a new user creating an account, and logged in being a check if the user is attempting to log in. Then if they were a new user, then it would create the user, else it would do this entire process here if they were logging in. And initially this seemed great, it seemed like the perfect solution, until I realized in this form right here, calling the constructor looked like this. So we'd say user.create, and then we'd say username, password, true, false. But then when you're passing variables into a constructor, true and false don't say anything, they're just there. And I started getting confused in the order, especially here, because both of those booleans had default values, But then that complicated even more things, because here it's my btn cancel, so this would be like the button which cancels the login and then goes back to the main form. I would send two falses, and in my eyes at the time would be fine, because when you code something, the first time that you code it, it looks good to you, but then after you take time to look at it, you will begin to realize that there's a lot more going on here than you think. So there was a little explanation here about splitting, or not splitting, but if you have to, just a message that if you have to send multiple Boolean values, or even one, into a function or a method, you should refactor what it's doing, because often it would be doing more than it actually should. Hey, this is pre-recording, pre-recording that, no, not pre-post, post-recording that. Okay. So, one thing I do want to add to the points that I was saying earlier is that it's not an absolute thing, and I think that sometimes, in very rare edge cases, using booleans in procedures and functions may be necessary, especially in a situation where you don't want to, let me say there's nuance, right? There's two different things, and you want to make a small change between the two of them, but you don't want them to be exactly the same. So say we have sign up. Okay, so say we have boolean, say something like something dumb, like is happy, right? Well, okay, now that I'm reconsidering it, you would do that differently as well. So it's a bit of a tangent to add, but then I did want to say that I do believe that there may be some instances where you need a boolean being sent into a method or a function or something, or procedure, depending on whatever language you are looking at. But I don't really have an example to give right now, and I'll try to come up with that, because I do believe that there are some situations where you may need one. Of course, those are probably edge cases, because I myself have not really encountered that. Now that I think of it, when I look at a lot of the instances where I have done that, it would have been better to just split whatever the operation that thing was doing into two separate things, because the example I wanted to give was boolean is happy, which would kind of say if the user is happy or not, and I want to say login if is happy. But then there was also the idea of public void. Yeah, public void. Is it best as a void? Yeah. Okay. Happy check, and then is happy. Now this is a situation where you would put a boolean through, say, okay, he's feeling happy. Then return no is happy equals is feeling happy. Now this is kind of not really redundant, but then it's not very useful. And here I would say that you may want to have like an is happy thing here, but then at the same time there is always the option of new user dot is happy equals false. So then the new user dot happy check and true would kind of negate this entire this that you could do here. But there are some instances where you may have to do some sort of calculation somewhere, like say if the user is happy, it changes one of these other variables. Say if is happy, then say something random like is admin equals true, else is admin equals false. So this is a situation where having a Boolean that is sent to a method may be useful, because now this Boolean is used to do other checks to modify other variables. Now of course I may not be correct, or there may be a better way, but then this is just the way that I see a person doing this, since this Boolean does affect other things. So I won't say that it's absolute, that you should never use Booleans in constructors or methods or whatever. Sometimes there will be situations where you may need to use a Boolean, say to check something that may modify other things, unless of course there are other ways to do that. But then I think that doing this would be easier than doing something like is unhappy and then say, and then do something like wait okay, just do this. Stop. Is happy equals, say, true, then case is happy, switch is happy, then new user dot is unhappy, or else new user dot, then say you do something like this. Oh, okay. Something else I had to fix that. Case true, no, case false. Boolean. Okay, Boolean is happy. Capital F. No. It's either true or false, so it should work unless I'm missing something. Then can I just say true? Okay, whatever. Correct me if I did something. Cannot convert Boolean to good. What? Boolean? Okay. Make that Boolean name string. Damn, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So if is happy, then new user dot is happy equals to true. Then else, if new user is unhappy, user dot is unhappy, which will do an entire process if the user is unhappy, like setting is admin to false. This is a situation where I would say that passing a Boolean is much better than doing this. Of course, this may also work, but then you'd be, say these two did the same thing, they set the same variables to different values, then in my mind, I don't think that repeating the same thing multiple times would be a great idea. Now, of course, there may be reasons to, and I'd love to hear what someone else, like one of you guys, may think about this. Maybe there's a counter argument to this that, okay, yes, maybe it is better to do the check up here, do the check here, then have an entirely separate method or function or whatever that does the check for you, which you send a Boolean to. So that is just something I wanted to add to the original argument that I had, that there may be some instances where you need something like, passing a Boolean into a method or a function as a parameter. But I would love to hear what you guys, whoever's watching this video, may have to say about that, because I don't believe that I'm absolutely correct. Like, someone else could have a counter argument that is actually valid and may just change my mind. But that's all I wanted to add to this. Thank you for watching this little rant of mine.